Two quick notes about today's episode of Happy, Sad, Confused. The following conversation with Emily Blunt was recorded prior to the start of the SAG-AFTRA strike. In addition, the quality of the audio is somewhat lacking due to circumstances beyond our control. Our apologies.
It will be those experiences that will keep me up at night where I don't sleep during a film, but I slept well on Oppenheimer. And maybe it was just because you feel so safe with Chris, you know, and you don't have any questions or queries working with him. You know, his instincts are so right. Like, his notes are so good. I've never had notes like that in my life. They're so transporting.
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, Sad, Confused begins now.
Today on Happy, Sad, Confused, I'm Josh Horowitz, and it only took us about 10 years on the podcast to get one of my favorites on. Yes. She loves murdering Tom Cruise. She loves singing and dancing with a parasol. She loves jungle cruises. And most importantly, Emily Blunt loves being in awesome movies like Oppenheimer.
Thank you.
I saved the day with the
Yeah, that was good. That was awesome. That was awesome.
It's good to see you.
You too.
I can't believe you've never done the pod. We've done every kind of manifestation of conversation.
Yes, what the heck? Like, have I just said no to your podcast? I'm like, why?
Don't pretend like you haven't looked at the list.
That I haven't been like,
nope.
no.
I'm very excited to chat with you at length today.
Thank you.
This movie certainly warrants it. I mean, we could have spent 45 minutes talking about a fun thing like Jungle Cruise, but no, you wanted Oppenheimer.
I wanted Oppenheimer. Don't tell Dwayne Johnson, but I did. I would have preferred to talk to you about this.
What is the ratio of LOLs on the set of Oppenheimer? I mean, what's the blooper reel like on Oppenheimer?
You know, I think people would imagine it was terribly intense and we all walked around saying we are making an important movie with a capital I, but it didn't feel like that. It felt very warm and fun and joyful, and even though there's the inevitable intimidation factor of working with Chris Nolan and the awareness that you're going to have to tighten the screws on yourself, and every single crew member and cast member feels that, you know, I don't know how he does it. He creates this rather casual attitude towards it, and he'll sort of go, well, you know, you'll talk about the scene a bit, even if it's a big boy, you know, it's going to be a monster scene, and then he'll go, right, okay, happy, yeah, we ready to shoot one? Okay, yeah, let's go. Yeah. It was just, everything is calm, right. No chaos. So there were plenty of lols on set.
Because I've talked to several actors I've worked with him over the years, and they concur with you in that he does seem to have that big picture. He has the command of the largest scale possible. Yeah. And yet, from my understanding, it actually does feel pretty intimate.
It does.
It's not a huge imprint of crew once you're actually in the scene.
True. It feels really intimate. It feels warm, and even though we're shooting with these massive cameras, they sort of cease to exist somehow. And Chris himself is a very big guy. He's tall. He's an imposing figure. He'll stand right by the camera and watch you, but I didn't notice him anymore. And so it just, I don't know, I think maybe because the set is so focused.
Right. I'm curious, like, you know, as you progress through the career and you work with different kinds of filmmakers, do you become more picky about the kind of environment you want, or more open to different kinds of experiences?
I always feel open to different kinds of experiences. I become more picky about the directors that I want to work with, because I think it's just the most freeing, exciting thing when you collaborate with someone who sees all of you and you see all of them. And it's when an experience can transcend what the script was. Whereas when you work with directors who can be tricky or controlling, or there's an ego or a different agenda, it does get in the way of things. There's an override button I feel I have to hit when I work with,
too. You can't put yourself up in the full way you want to.
It's just different. It's a different sort of shield you have to adopt, and it will be those experiences that will keep me up at night where I don't sleep during a film. But I slept well on Oppenheimer, and maybe it was just because you feel so safe with Chris, you know, and you don't have any questions or queries working with him. You know, his instincts are so right. Like, his notes are so good. I've never had notes like that in my life. They're so transporting.
Is there an example of
I can think of none. No funny anecdotes to give you.
Here's the question. You've worked with Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
A lot of people sometimes kind of put them in the same kind of
for
sphere.
sure.
Do you see them? Is that an apt analogy for you in any way, the way they work?
I feel like Denis and Rob Marshall and Chris Nolan, they all have similar traits to me, which is just like they are incredibly prepared and meticulous in their preparation, uncompromising in that side of things. And they demand and command the best of you. You know, Denis has this wonderful, and we all thought on Sicario, me and Josh and Benicio, we were like, oh my God. It's his shtick, I think, where he comes in and he's like, I don't know about this scene, madam. I haven't had enough coffee. Oh my God, you know. And it's like this bit he does, and I think he really knows everything. I think he sees the full spectrum of everything. I think it's just shtick to make you go, oh, see, I don't have to be scared, you know.
And then you see the fully realized.
Yes.
You're like, oh, this guy's a master.
Master. And I think Rob Marshall has the dancer in him where it is just, you drill it until it is perfect. There is like a perfectionist to him in so many ways, and yet both he and Chris and Denis all share this quality, which is that they're so curious about what the actors are going to do. And they lean into your choices and they're like, what else? What else? Show me, what else? And it just feels so exciting because you're trusted by them.
Sicario comes up a lot, and justifiably so. In your career. I mean, it's one of my all-time favorites, and I know for you personally, it is one you consider up in that upper echelon.
Sure, yeah.
So, is that, you talked about working with Denis, is it mostly about the experience of making it, of getting that kind of role to play, of seeing the finished product? Like, why does that one stand apart for you as one of the top ones for you?
I mean, I feel it was... I don't know if during it I saw the full scope of what he was doing. I think when I saw it and was so gripped by the throat by it, and it was, I didn't realize how much you would feel like her as an audience member. I didn't realize that she would bring you into it in the way that she does, and she is as in the dark as the audience are. It is an incoherent world where someone is way over their head, and the panic that instills in audiences watching it was so cool, and how taut and muscular the whole thing felt when you watched it, and how stunning it looked because of Roger Deakins. It was just beautiful to look at, groundbreakingly so. And so I do see why that one resonates with people, but I'm always I felt that with Oppenheimer. I was absolutely staggered by it when I saw it. I felt like my bones were going to break. I just didn't, I had no idea it would move as propulsively and viscerally as it did. It was just stunning.
Yeah, I was just saying something. I've actually seen it twice.
Have you?
Yeah. So I've done the podcast actually with Christopher and Cillian.
Oh, you did? Good.
And it's over 3 hours. You can't deny that. But it is so mesmerizing. And
I know.
His way with... I don't know, it rides a wave, like you're like riding it up and down throughout, and it's so propulsive, and it is that marriage of sound design and music and performance that is just like, it's why I love going to the movies.
Me too. No, it does. It's a film that just wraps its powerful arms around you and pulls you right into the screen, and you feel inside of it, and whether you want to be or not, you know.
Kitty is a delicious character, I would think.
Yeah.
There aren't many women I know from that era that rode horses and carried a flask. That's cool.
She loved a drink. She loved a drink.
Bring the flask back? Is that
should we?
I mean,
a cheeky little flask just nipped into your suit pocket.
What would
Come
the
on.
beverage be in the flask?
Tequila.
Nice.
Of course. Of course.
Do you go Clooney or do you go Terramana? Like,
I mean, listen, I've recently become more into Terramana. George, I love you. But,
they should just rename
I'm just saying, I get free Terramana. Like, if Clooney wants to send me some free tequila, then we could talk.
Now that I think about it, why do they call it Casamigos and Terramana? Just call it Clooney and Rock. Isn't that just an easier shortcut?
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Where were we talking about? Oh, Kitty.
Yes.
So is that, okay, so again, this is another thing I love about this movie. Look, there's the guy in the poster. He's amazing. Cillian holds this all together, and it's fantastic to see him utilized in this way. But it is a true ensemble. It reminds me, I said this to Christopher, of like when I was growing up and I saw like JFK, and every single small character had a lived-in embodiment by a great actor.
Sure.
And that for me, like, it felt like I could watch a movie about any number of these characters,
Sure.
including Kitty. Did that jump off the page that, like, it's a supporting character, but you do see a fully realized villain there?
I mean, there was a ferocity to that character that was there and visceral and exciting. But to me, it speaks to the kind of delicacy and the exquisite writing that Chris Nolan does, which people often overlook because he's such a phenomenal director. It's like you should never forget what an incredible screenwriter he is as well. And she was so fiery. She was so complicated, riddled with demons herself. And I think it's so cool to play someone who's sort of at war with herself, really, and a nonconformist for the 1950s housewife ideal, you know.
And I would say, I mean, again, this is all still kind of seeping in after seeing it a couple times, but like, you know, she's relatable in some ways, especially towards the end of the film, because she is kind of speaking up where, like, you as an audience member want to defend this man. That
well, you're just desperate for someone to fight for him, and he's just been eviscerated and just lacerated by everybody, and he's taking it in this passive way, which must have just infuriated her because she wanted him to fight so much. And it's terribly exciting when she's able to bring that brilliant brain of hers back to life, even though she's become so volatile and unpredictable, and fight for him at the end. And you sort of need someone like her to come along and not toe the line, you know?
Does that scene jump out on the page? Because that scene is one of my favorites in the film. It
Thank
is so
you.
powerful
Thank
and,
you.
and really emotional to watch. Again, I don't want to ruin it for the audience,
Sure.
but she has a meaty kind of like coming to the defense of her husband.
Yeah, and I think, you know, yes, when I read it, you know, because the scene was one of those scenes that you know is your requirement is to make it impactful, and it was just how it was written. It was, and also the idea that Chris had sort of set her up to supposedly fail, and how she's just sort of not walking straight going in there, and you're like, oh my God, she's going to choke. It's going to be a nightmare. And a true testament to their marriage, which, as tumultuous as it was successful, and she did worship him, you know. And I remember doing that scene with Tony Goldwyn, who was just the best, and he said to me afterwards, he goes, it was so jarring. It was like looking at my mother, who was one of those women who went to waste at the ironing board, and it was startling to see it, you know. And I think I had so much empathy for her, because yes, she's a terrible mother, and she's not a natural nurturer, and she's not terribly nice, and she's a total party animal. And but I really recognized that there were a lot of women at the time that didn't want to just be defined by being a mother or being someone's wife. And the deterioration of her is really in support of fostering him, you know. And I just saw her as more than, and Chris did, you know, obviously in how he wrote her, more than a sort of archetypal Lady Macbeth sort of wife character.
Scale of 1 to 10, how well do you understand quantum?
Minus 350. No, I do not.
Is that's not a requirement necessarily of the job, generally speaking, when you're...
I feel like we all can blag it, you know. I think that that's really your job sometimes, is just to understand what's ultimately going to be out there on the screen.
Right. Say it forcefully.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, I'm exploring the emotionality of the marriage. I know how to do that, but I don't know shit about quantum physics.
Where do you come down on the movie star versus actor kind of? It's not a debate, but this is a discussion I've had with
What do you
folks.
think?
Well, it's okay. So an actor who I love, and I would argue potentially he's a movie star. Mr. Matt Smith brought this up to me.
Yeah.
He plays a game called Movie Star or Actor.
He does?
Yeah, where like you bring up a human being and you say, is that a movie star or is that an actor?
But is one sort of is an actor seen as better than the movie
This
star?
is part and parcel. I'm not in my. I love them both, and I think some definitely toe that line. Like for instance, like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
This is a movie star performance. He's the center of a giant summer Christopher Nolan movie. But I think, generally speaking, for it's, again, not a slight at all. Is, I think, considered first and foremost an actor, not a movie star.
I think he would consider himself an actor as well. I think most people would want to consider themselves an actor. First and foremost.
Don't you think you are both?
No, I don't. I don't. No, gross. I don't.
Gross.
No.
So you assign. You don't like the movie.
Well, because I just think to me, a movie star sounds sort of too separate of what we kind of started out doing and why we love it and why I love it. And I guess you could, okay, so for example, I remember one of the first actors who made such an impact on me growing up, and it was Julia Roberts, who is, was defined as a movie star, but you can't forget her incalculable abilities as an actor and how incredible she was in Pretty Woman, that the reason she's a movie star is because she kidnaps you and pulls you in to this movie because of her phenomenal talents and her charm and her charisma and so I guess I see the two as blending sometimes, when someone's got that wattage to them, it's like you can't rip your eyes off them. Maybe that's what the movie star thing is, but I see it often as like a blend,
And I think it also comes with time, right? It's like a lot of folks, like Julia Roberts is a good example, because so much of the early conversation is about the charisma, the raw charisma and beauty, etc. And then with opportunity and to show different shades of yourself.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, she can be Erin Brockovich and she can...
Exactly. But I think Cillian would be sort of horrified to be called a movie star. But that's him. I mean, there's Robert Downey was saying earlier, there's British reserve and then there's Irish horror at anyone complimenting him.
I've experienced him. Yeah. I respect it, definitely. 3 points of similarity between Cillian Murphy and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay. Charisma.
Yes.
They both love a drink. Great cheekbones.
Yes. Mesmerizing eyes you can get lost in.
Great set of peepers on them.
Would you rather see Cillian in a Fast and Furious movie or Dwayne in Oppenheimer?
I want to see Dwayne Johnson rip the face off something in Oppenheimer. I'm telling you. I've told him, I said, you're going to win an Oscar one day. I know it.
I agree. I want him in the hands of one of the greats.
He's going to be, and I'm excited, and I think that there's so much to mine there, Because I've worked with a lot of actors who, a lot of whom are brilliant and deemed brilliant, but I've never met, I see DJ in that same realm of I just worked with Ryan Gosling, who's a brilliant actor, and they both listen so intently. And that's the sign of a great actor as well. They're curious, they're looking at you in the scene and waiting to react. And there's more to being an actor than just revealing the portrait of a person, you know what I mean? There's so much more to it than just making it a performative scene. It's just so, or a self-serving scene. They're both great listeners, and I remember being struck by that when I met DJ and started working with him. It's probably easy to typecast and put him in a box, but I guess I just didn't have that experience.
Well, you would expect someone at that level to kind of cocoon themselves off from the world and not be present. And you're right, with everyone, that's why he's the most
that's why, exactly.
You're in that room with him, he's
exactly, yeah.
All right, since we have the luxury of time, let's go back. Let's talk about...
Enough about Dwayne Johnson.
Let's talk about little Dwayne Johnson. Let's talk about little Emily.
Okay.
Little Emily, lost in her own imagination.
Yes.
A little shorter.
Yes, very much so, especially without the heels, yes.
Without the heels.
Yes.
How would you characterize you as a young, 12 years old?
Sure.
What were you like as a kid? What would your parents say what you were like?
More internal than I think I am now. When you're saying 10 or 12, it was when I had a really severe stutter, it impacted what I revealed to the world for sure, because it was so disabling, it was such a misrepresentation of who I really was, I think. So it was a particularly hard time, that age, because it was like I had this sort of imposter living in my body that I couldn't override. And it was tough. It was a tough time. And then it did sort of recede over the years. It got better and better. And
was it connected to anxiety? Or no?
no, because a stutter is a biological, hereditary, neurological problem, and it's something I'll always have. And I think I was at my event that I host every year to raise money for stuttering therapy, and I realized, speaking to other stutterers, we all sort of feel the same, that I don't think I even know how much verbal gymnastics I do as I talk to you. Maybe I do it all the time.
Right.
And I don't realize how often I'm substituting other words that might be easier to flow or say, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much I override hesitations that I'm not even aware of. You just realize how fast the brain works, you know. But I think I was a more internal child. I think I watched people a lot. I've always been fascinated in the human experience. I've always had great empathy for people. I love the shadows of people's lives. I love playing them. So I wasn't like wanting to be an actress, because at the time I was like, well, I have to talk, so how am I going to do that?
Right, that felt like
so it just was so far-fetched of an idea, sort of an absurd thought, and then, yeah.
When it started to gain momentum and the passion kind of manifested, that must have also brought you self-confidence and like a place, like,
yeah,
this feels right. And
right.
That's what any of us are striving for in whatever pursuit we're looking for, is to feel a comfort.
Yeah, and like, what's your place in the world?
Yeah.
And like, how do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And I think I would get cast in school plays, but I was probably a bit baffled still. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wasn't like, this is my moment. Like, I don't remember that burning ambition or desire for it. And I'm sure actors kind of hate this story. It did feel like I sort of stumbled into it. I'm so grateful I did, because I just adore it. I'm completely, madly in love with it and can't imagine doing anything else. But yeah, it was just it wasn't meteoric or anything, you know?
Well, I mean, and it is funny to kind of see kind of the quote-unquote big breaks, as it were, because, like, you know, Devil Wears Prada obviously changed.
Sure, yeah.
And when I'm thinking back to that, what's funny to that, for me about that is, look, obviously, yes, it has Meryl in it, it's Tucci and Anne, and so there is a pedigree, but, like, most of those movies aren't great. Let's be like, most movies aren't great.
Yeah.
So, like, you could have been in a shitty rom-com.
I could have been in a really shitty one. I auditioned for a lot of them, you know?
So, it must, I don't know, I have no point except to say it is a marriage of ambition and talent and dumb luck.
Completely. And I think I remember, like, we would be howling with laughter on that set. We thought we were hilarious. I mean, we were always...
We're doing it.
Guys, we're crushing it. So the bloopers from that movie are my favorites. I mean, we were just endless fun on that set, mainly down to the incredible David Frankel and, like, what he created for everybody in the environment. But I remember when that movie came out, and I had no idea about an opening weekend. I hadn't even heard that term. And I remember my agent, Chris, being like, it made this on the opening weekend. I was like, is that good? Like, is that good? You know? So, you know. And then it had this culty following, and it's still the movie that's quoted to me. I've had 2 people talk to me about it today, about the Cuba cheese.
When you're out in the wild with John,
out in the wild.
In the wild, not literally the wild. Like, I'm not saying camping trips.
Like in the world, outside.
Yeah. When you exited the compound.
Exited the compound.
The gates go down the moat.
Yeah, and I start to get a little bit fearful. Yeah.
Right, exactly. More Office quotes thrown at you guys, or more Devil Wears Prada thrown at you?
Office quotes.
Really?
I mean, it's a religion.
Yeah.
And it became even more religion during COVID. I think The Office was like on as background comfort and therapy in everyone's homes. It brought people together. And so we emerged outside of COVID. And I was like, can you wear 2 baseball hats? Like, how are we going to get around? You know, I was like, can you wear one on your face? You know, we can't go anywhere.
What level of fan is appropriate for the spouse of the star of The Office to be? Like, there's a tipping point. You want to be a supporter and a fan, but you don't want to be...
Like a super fan,
right?
Like fanatical.
That's what I'm asking.
No, I'm a massive fan of that show.
You've gone
hugely.
Really?
Yeah, gone too
What's your
far.
favorite episode? Do you have a favorite?
Don't ask me that. I don't know the names of them.
That's okay.
You know, he's barely watched any of them. After season 5, I feel like he's barely seen any of them. He doesn't really watch Jack Ryan, doesn't want to watch any of it. And it's not that precious thing I can't watch myself. I think he's just, oh, I already did it. I did it, yeah.
You and Leonardo DiCaprio are the only two actors that have not worn spandex and played a superhero.
No, that's not true. Ryan Gosling?
Gosling wants to, though. Have you talked to
No,
Gosling?
he doesn't.
I swear to God
No, he doesn't. I asked him about it. He doesn't. Who does he want to play?
He wants to play. He told me, I was looking for Gray Man last year, and he's like Ghost Rider. He's like a big old geek.
He's such a dork, isn't he? I'm going to really have beef with him about that. I was like, me and you, Ryan.
No?
No, I thought we were, like, wearing it as a badge of honor.
He was playing it cool with you. He was trying to impress you.
What about Emma Stone?
Emma Stone has not played a superhero.
See?
So, look, as far back as we've been talking, I have been like pestering you, like many, about like, are you gonna play Captain Marvel? Are you gonna that's my voice when I ask those questions.
Oh, it's a great voice. That's your nerdy voice.
That's my actual voice. Years of therapy, I've gotten this.
This is your new voice, yeah.
So, okay, over the years, let's see. There's been talk of Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
Peggy Carter, Sue Storm, and Black Widow is real. I mean, you were cast as Black Widow. Kind of, sort of.
Come on, the best girl got it. The best
I'm
girl.
not saying that she didn't. She was
Best girl.
amazing, but
Yeah.
circumstances, Gulliver's Travels.
Which was such a great film.
It was a great junket.
Oh, that was a fun junket, yeah.
So, were any of the other ones remotely real besides Black Widow?
Rumors, talk,
It was only folks like-
queries, that kind of thing.
Would she be interested, hypothetically? But no, like,
Maybe.
you never did the Kevin Feige meet.
No. Not on any of those ones, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel so on the spot. I feel like heart palpitations right now.
Did you watch John play Mr. Fantastic finally?
Yes.
You saw the movie?
I saw his bit.
Okay. I was going to say,
I was like, okay.
Well,
and oh, there you are. Yeah.
What was the name of the movie that he was in?
Was it Doctor Strange?
I did. Oh, yeah, okay.
It was Doctor Strange, right?
I'm so,
You can't. I'm the worst person to be asked about this stuff.
You're not
I don't know
pretending to be a
anything.
superhero person. It's
I'm
cool.
not.
Be what you are.
Yes, but I can recognize that it is a religion, and I don't want to,
Does it feel like there's closure in the house? Does he feel good? Because there's so much talk for years. Does he feel
Was
like
there?
I
think he thought it was fun. I mean, it was fun for him to pop in and do that.
Yeah. But for you, I mean, it is an amazing thing that, yes, okay, it's you, Leo, Emma, and Gosling have decided the four.
Although Gosling's now on the fence, which...
Yeah, Gosling is going to wear a cape at some point.
What a turncoat he is. You know what I mean? I always knew that about him.
But, I mean, that is a nice place to be where you don't have to be reliant on quote-unquote franchises.
Yes.
Right?
Wait, Tom Cruise hasn't done a superhero, has he?
You're right, okay.
Oh,
now
God,
you're
I'm going to
assuming that
start...
thing.
I know, there's more than you think. There's more of us people than you think.
We don't speak up enough, but we're out there.
We're out there.
But I guess my question is, do you feel any of that kind of pressure to have, like, I got a franchise going here, and I'm going to return to this character? Or...
No, because I don't like to take things on thinking they could be a franchise. I mean, I don't tend to do that. And I don't have any strategy to it. I just don't. I don't know why. I love what I love, and I hope for the best every time. I mean, it's sort of the leap into the great unknown with every film you take on. I can see when I read a script, some things are inevitably more commercially viable than others. It will not be the reason for me doing it,
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Which never is going to be a conversation we don't have because
It's the best.
The best.
The best.
Is the memories of the exosuit? Exosuit, thank you. Memories of exosuit, like pregnancy, like you forget how bad it was?
No, I don't forget. No, my back is still tweaks out on me sometimes. You know, I'll like turn funny in the car, and I'll just be like, Tom Cruise. Cruise.
Should we stop though? Should I stop asking you about a sequel? I don't want to.
No, because I mean, I wish there could be one.
Have you ever read a script?
Yeah.
You have.
Have I ever read a script? Yes, we did.
Okay.
There was one that Doug kind of slithered over to me, and like, But I mean, I would love to make it a reality, but I just don't know when or how. And how many Mission Impossibles does he need?
I know. The guy
Come on.
There's another cliff to jump off of.
Come back to the side where you can be a, like, wasn't he brilliant?
He was amazing.
As the cowardly hero. Oh!
You just
Incredible.
Want to murder him 20 more times.
I know. I couldn't bear it. I adored him. He was the best.
So you are not the impediment. You're ready.
I'm so ready. I'm not the impediment. I promise.
Okay.
Promise.
Would you trust Doug Liman to send you into space? Because they're supposedly going to do a movie where he goes into space. And
yeah.
I love Doug Liman, but he's a madman.
He's a madman. He once said, "Hey, I'm flying to Martha's Vineyard in my plane this weekend. Maybe we could discuss The Edge of Tomorrow 2 on the plane." And I was like, never.
Wait, and he's going to be flying?
I was like, never.
While he's flying?
Yes.
No.
No, it's a no.
No.
I wonder who's more scared to go to space, Tom or Doug? I wonder who's...
Tom would never. He has no
fear.
Yeah.
He's missing the chip.
This is a really sore point for me. And
Okay.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, God.
The coconut cake has become an obsession for me.
Have you never got it?
I hosted the Mission Impossible premiere this year. I hosted the Top Gun premiere last year. I've interviewed Tom many times. We've had lots of LOLs.
Have you told him?
No, because you don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, can I be on the coconut cake
He would
list?
prefer... Tom likes people to be direct.
I guess I'm not that guy.
You got to speak your mind.
You can't put in a good word? You can't...
I mean, can you imagine? Would you be so thrilled if you got a coconut cake this year?
Honestly, make me cry.
It is such a good cake.
That's not what I'm looking for.
It is such a good cake. How many people do you speak to that get the cake and you like...
So many. I'm talking to Haley Atwell tomorrow. You think I'm not going to bring it up with her?
She probably gets 2 cakes.
Yeah.
She's working with him right now. Take it up with Haley.
She's on the active.
She's on the
coconut
active.
cake.
She's on the
But
circuit.
you're on the list. I mean, once you're in forever. That's the whole
Okay.
thing.
It's true. That's why you got to get on this.
All right. A Quiet Place.
Yes.
This will also always hold a special place for a number of reasons, I would imagine.
Yes.
I know the reception caught you guys off guard.
Yes.
Obviously working with John.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about in the production of it, was it surprising actually working that close with John, given that you had never done it before? Was it a surprising experience for you?
I think we had sort of anticipatory fear about the idea of it because you don't know, right? And I think people are different people when they're at work, and we knew each other in a domesticated sense, and I think you're just a slightly different version of yourself when you're at work. And what would that be like? And we knew we wouldn't have the diplomacy that you would.
Sure.
You have a shorthand, you have a secret language, your fuse might be shorter, your patience might be different. It's all of these elements that you share with your partner, and how would that be interpreted on set,
Right.
So I didn't know he knew what to do with a camera.
I mean, you're a smart guy.
Truly, before we started shooting, was like, do you know how to shoot this movie?
Do you know how to turn it on?
Do you know what a lens is? And he was very humble. He goes, I think I do. And then we got on set, and I was just staggered by him. I was so in awe of him, and amazed that he could shoot like that, and how visual he was. And he's an actor. He knows how to talk to actors. And I think maybe during that experience, as much as we compliment each other off sets, in all of each other's work, maybe I felt the full measure of what he thought of me as an actor, and that was so moving, because I got to experience that firsthand, his reactions to whatever I might have done, and it was really cool. It was really cool, and I think everyone thought we'd be divorced by the end of it, and then they're like, "You're making another one? Can your marriage take it?" I think the only thing, and the reason why I'm taking a breather from it for a while is just because those movies were like a wild horse in our house. They just are, another family member, and it takes over so much, and you don't have the opportunity to go, "How was your day?" Because you saw it and you lived it. And I'm so proud of the movies, superlatively proud of the movies, I can't even tell you, and proud of him. And also thrilled that the world found out what I knew of him, which was that he had sort of soaring abilities that hadn't been recognized to their full extent. So I was really thrilled by after that South by reaction, you know. It was just the coolest thing to wake up the next day and I could see that he'd been invited into the sandpit in a way that he'd been craving, and it was just the coolest.
I just saw your co-star Millicent in a play last night.
John's going to see it next week, I know.
Very good.
Cool, was she awesome?
Yeah.
Good.
Amazing. Who was the actor you stole it from? A Quiet Place. You said that it was intended for a friend of yours.
Oh, I can't. I'll never tell. I'll never tell. I mustn't. I've never said
Anne
it.
Hathaway.
No.
Blake Lively. Sienna Miller. Do they know?
Come on, do you know all of my friends?
I got 3 of them.
They know.
They do know.
It's an in-joke.
And they're cool with it.
They're
They've
cool with
reconciled
it. Yeah.
Okay.
They knew not to get in front of that train, you know?
Lupita has shot kind of the side story.
Yes,
thing.
yes.
But the intent is at some point to finish the trilogy with your character?
Well, Cillian and I were having a chat with John about it last night. We were sitting on a rooftop all together drinking wine, and...
You know what would be good?
You know what would be great? Is we keep this thing going. I think it would have to be that we would all do it together. You know, I don't want it to be with a different director if we did it again, you know.
It's been a while since you've done theater. A long while.
I know.
Have you ever done theater here in New York?
Never. I only did it in England for like the first year of my professional life.
That's how you have to say it.
My professional life.
Look, you're a busy lady. You're highly in demand. You're a mom. There's a lot going on. But is that on the list still?
Of course. Do you want to hear my reason? And it's a real one. I don't want to miss bedtime every night. I know it's a thing that gives me anxiety. I can't do it yet. I'm not ready for that.
Wow.
I know, but it's true. It makes me emotional, like, thinking about it.
Trying to be snarky and silly, and you had to bring it there.
I know, I'm bringing it right there. You can't argue with that, all right?
No, I can't. I have no retort to that. Have you retired from auditioning? When was the last time Emily Blunt actually had to audition for a role?
I auditioned for Rob Marshall for Into the Woods. And by the way, I didn't want to. I was terrified, and I'd said no to auditioning for him for 9 and for something, because I didn't want to sing in front of anyone. And I'd said no to auditioning for Into the Woods, and then he called Chris Andrews, my amazing agent, and he said, she's coming in. I'm not looking for singers who can kind of act. I want actors who can kind of sing. Just bring her in. There's no pressure. We're just going to sing a song, and I'm going to talk to her. And that was it. And it just made it sort of open-ended and cozier than I had anticipated it being. And it's become a lifelong collaboration and friendship. And I want to do everything with Rob. He was just with us. He and John came to us for 4th of July. They're uncles to my children. It has become one of the most profound relationships of my career, working with him.
Were you, back in the day, like an anxious auditioner? Did you see it as an opportunity, or did you dread it?
No, I didn't dread it that much. I mean, I would dread it if I had to, like, sing or something, but I did see it as an opportunity always, yeah. I didn't mind auditioning. I quite liked it. I mean, I would be nervous. I would feel terrified, but I didn't mind that feeling.
I think the smartest thing that some actors have said to me over the years is, like, it's a switch in your head if you see it as an opportunity. It's like, I'm getting to act for somebody.
And they're sort of willing you to be it. Like, you have to just, don't think they're willing you to fail. They're sort of willing, they want to find it.
Right. One of my favorite pieces of IMDb trivia I've ever seen on an actor is in your bio.
Okay.
Do you fear gloves, Emily?
Yeah, I don't love a glove. I don't love a glove, sort of slithering your hands into something and just like...
I think slither is...
Slither. It's my favorite word. Sienna Miller started introducing me to the word slither, and now we say it to each other all the time. So now it's just like right on the tip of my tongue. She talks about people just being like, I just saw him sort of slithering into the room. It's like, she says it so much, we now call each other Slither. It's like the best.
There's another on the IMDb. Is Boop an actual...
That's what my mum calls me.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Sweetness.
My dad calls me Peanut, my mum calls me Boop.
Stop it.
I know, I'm killing you with this stuff. I'm crushing this.
It's the 10 years was worth the wait.
Yeah.
Was any kind of glove? Is it like those like long like opera gloves?
Yeah, definitely the long opera gloves I could do without. And then, I mean, listen, I live in New York, so in the middle of winter I'm going to be putting on some mittens, but I'd take a mitten over some gloves.
Right,
you know.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned working with Ryan.
Yes.
How's The Fall Guy? You spent
Awesome.
probably a long time in Australia with
We
David
did.
Leitch. Great
Amazing
guy.
David Leitch, just the greatest guy. The greatest guys, plural. They were wonderful to me, and it was just a joy bomb, the whole thing. Absolutely adored it. It's a big, entertaining, sweeping, epic love story of like, as there's a line in the movie, of cosmic proportions, and so it was cool. It's a celebration of making movies. It was beautiful.
Wait,
Loved
do you
it.
play a director?
I do, yeah.
Did you base
On John.
I didn't say it.
Am I Chris Nolan, Denis Villeneuve? I feel a bit more like Denis in it. I think maybe I'm a bit more of a Denis in it, sort of pretending I don't really have it together, a little more erratic and
Got it.
yeah, eccentric maybe.
I mean, I'm of the age that I grew up with that show.
What a show.
Great theme song.
Yeah,
Is the theme song in the film at all?
maybe. Ryan is so epic in it. He's
for
fantastic.
it.
Oh my God, he's hilarious.
He's your competition, or you?
He really is.
I mean, this whole Barbie thing, this Barbenheimer thing.
I'm
sure you've been asked
loving
about
it.
a lot. Are you enjoying it?
Loving it. We're all loving it. I mean, because I think ultimately we want everyone to go back to go see the double bill.
Yes.
If you want the steak dinner and the sundae, have them both.
What's the recommendation for you? What do you start with?
I mean, I would say do Oppenheimer first,
Right.
then go metabolize it,
Yeah.
and then if you need a sort of,
I think that's smart because you want to be focused.
yes, you've got to be
like,
focused,
like-
clear. You don't want to start that at 9 p.m. really. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you share? Gosling likes an amusement park.
Does he?
Yeah. He's a big Disney guy. You should use your like Mary Poppins in to get him.
I
into
know. I could get him some freebies,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I won't because
Because he's betrayed you.
He's betrayed
lied
me.
to you. He
Yeah.
lied to you. Okay.
Yeah, go ask Marvel for some freebies. You know what I mean?
Mr. Ghost Rider nerd. You also worked with the painfully uncharismatic Chris Evans recently.
Oh, the worst.
Paint Hustlers is coming out later this
Yes.
year. David Yates, another one of those like amazing
Amazing.
faculties, but is like
Yes.
the calmest, sweetest man.
Yes,
seen
yes, yes.
within
The
the
sweetest
planet.
man. Is such a brilliant storyteller, and the movie's great. It's set to the backdrop of the opioid crisis, and it's about this down and out single mother who sort of gets pulled into the intoxicating world of selling pharmaceuticals, and it's a morality play. It's about how far do you go, and at what point do you sort of recognize all the lies you're telling yourself in the pursuit of success, So it's about that. It's a take on the American dream and a cautionary tale, really.
Are you one of those kind of actors that kind of keeps like the list of filmmakers that you're
Want to work with?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a few I would love to. I'd love to work.
I would guess.
Like Paul Thomas Anderson, and I'd love to work with Scorsese. I'd love that.
Never had the Marty meeting.
No.
That guy.
Oh, that guy. Does he know I haven't played a superhero? Like, stop
Scorsese
casting
directed a
Leonardo. I haven't
superhero.
played one either.
Right. Not for the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. I mean, come on.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
He's the best.
He's the best.
Besides Bake Off and Shark Tank,
Okay.
anything else you're watching lately?
Do you know what I love? Is Breakpoint on Netflix, all the tennis players.
Oh, I've heard it a little.
Oh,
it's a
Definitely
recommendation.
worth it, yeah.
Okay.
Get involved.
The only two people I know that are obsessed with Shark Tank are my mom and you.
And me. I knew I loved your mother. What's your mother's name?
Barbara.
Barbara. Of course it is. I love it. Oh, I love that.
Do you have dreams of bringing a brand, bringing a product to the sharks? What's wrong? Like a tequila brand to compete with Dwayne. Every celebrity needs a alcohol.
No, I don't have an interest in it.
No.
Not
You could be
really.
the next J-Lo.
No.
Into it.
Who can be the next J-Lo? There's no one coming for that crown.
E-Blue.
E-Blue. You heard it here. But what would E-Blue be?
It's that
A glue.
horrible. It's horrible. So no products.
No products. No products.
Okay. Let's do the Happy Second Fused Profoundly Random Questionnaire.
Okay.
Okay.
So wait, what do I do?
You can answer a few random questions for me.
Okay.
You ready? What do you collect?
Sneakers. White sneakers.
White sneakers.
Yes.
Okay. Last actor you were mistaken for.
Oh my god, it was someone good. It was a girl from
It's okay.
Is it The Gilded Age? What's it called? Or like
Carrie Coon? No.
no, it was one of those shows. It was what's the one? Bridgerton. Someone said, "I love you in Bridgerton." I said, "Thank you."
Yes, you were excellent in Bridgerton.
So I don't know who it was.
That's okay. I'm wrapping up, I promise.
No, you can do. He's fine. He can do all his questions. Do it.
Worst note a director has ever given you?
Can you do it more like this person?
Like an actual
And pointed to the actor I was working with. And my dear friend, she is one of my dear friends, she went, because she was so horrified for me, I think. That was one of the worst notes I ever got.
How did you react? Did you take it in stride, or did you...
I think I, at that point, was so sick of bad notes that I went, yeah, okay. I kind of knew what the person meant, but kind of was so upset. There's a better way of saying, can you just be a bit more like this person?
What's a podcast that you would create for yourself to host? Is there a subject that you would actually be a good podcast host for?
I always want to know what scares people. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that seem sort of basic?
No, not at all. There's nothing basic about you.
Yeah.
Last thing, I know they're kicking me out. Happy, sad, confused. An actor that always makes you happy.
Robin Williams.
Love it. Movie that makes you sad.
Oh, God, Christ. Shadowlands.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, it's a weep fest.
And a food that makes you confused.
Burritos.
What?
They're so sludgy and yet sort of satisfying. It's so slithery. And I think a burrito is like sludgy, but also sort of great sometimes, but could be terrible in equal measures as being delicious. So I'm endlessly confused. No, it's just like mush. It's just like pudding. I don't love it.
We ended badly.
Oh, we ended badly.
Good ride.
That was it.
I'll see you in another 10 years.
Yes, please. No. Sooner.
Thank you for the time today.
Of
course.
course.
I always love catching up. The movie is truly exceptional.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And keep doing bedtime. I guess we'll wait for theater at that point. It's good to see you.
Done. See you soon.
And so ends another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Remember to review, rate, and subscribe to this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a big podcast person. I'm Daisy Ridley, and I definitely wasn't pressured to do this by Josh.